Alrighty, and welcome back to Star Wars Review, or I should say Indiana Jones Review, as I'm going to be reviewing Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, which was directed by Steven Spielberg and written by Willard Hayek and Gloria Katz, with a story by George Lucas, and stars Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones, and was released on May 23rd, 1984, which is the second film in the Indiana Jones film franchise, which is probably my least favorite of the original three films. I still definitely enjoyed it. I really enjoy it. But Raiders is one of my all-time favorite films, and Last Crusade is also definitely up there. Where Temple of Doom is, there, but not as high as those two. But one thing I do really like about it is, the Indiana Jones series is somewhat an anthology series. And this movie is definitely that, because it's definitely a lot different than the first one in a lot of ways. Where, more of the later ones kind of follow more of the Raiders style. Where this one's a bit weirder and definitely a bit darker. Also in a very different location. And, really the only thing returning from Raiders is Indy himself. And, there's just several things which just aren't maybe as prevalent in this film. One thing, I definitely noticed was, the main Indiana Jones theme doesn't really play as much as you would think. Also, the map stuff, when they're going from one location to the next, I think, only appears once in this movie. Which, in the other ones, it appears a couple times. So, that was definitely two things that were a little different, what maybe aren't as noticeable, what aren't, very noticeable, all the characters being different, the locations being very different, it being a little darker, all that stuff is a lot more noticeable. So, it is definitely a very different movie than Raiders of the Lost Ark. And, I definitely love it because of that. I will say, it doesn't work as well as Raiders of the Lost Ark. It is also definitely a slower movie. Another difference. Definitely in the middle. But the cold open and the ending are the more normal, fast-paced, indie, fun, adventure, action stuff. But, the middle is definitely a little slower than some other indie stuff. Also, one thing I'm not the biggest fan of is the character, Willie Scott, played by Kate Capshaw. She's the main female character of the film. But I'm just not super into her character. Kind of just a little more, I guess, stereotypical female lead. Kind of just annoying and all that. Obviously, I assume that is kind of the point to also kind of be a little different. Also, which, like I said, this movie is a different movie. It isn't a continuation of Raiders of the Lost Ark, but just another adventure Indy went on, because, it does take place before Raiders of the Lost Ark, actually. Which real quick, I will say, I do find it kind of weird, because in Raiders of the Lost Ark, doesn't really seem like Indy really believes too much in, magical stuff. But then at the end, kind of realizes that, but in this one, he just straight up sees magical stuff, so there's a little bit of a contradiction there, but it doesn't really matter. In fact, I guarantee most people don't even know Temple of Doom takes place before Raiders of the Lost Ark. But, back on track after that little tangent, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Willie Scott. Just not the biggest fan of her as a character. Probably my least favorite of the female leads in the Indiana Jones movies. But on the flip side of that, there's a Short Round, who I absolutely love in this movie, played by Ke Huy Quan, which I'm very happy he returned to acting recently, as he's great in the movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. He won the Best Supporting Actor Oscar for that, so very happy for him there. And happy that he's returned to acting, and hopefully will continue to get more roles and whatnot and give more great performances like this movie and Everything Everywhere All at Once. Which it does kind of make me a little sad that he had to go away from acting because no one would hire him, because I watched Everything Everywhere All at Once several months ago now, but I really loved him in that movie, and this first time I'm watching Temple of Doom. Since watching that, and I just really realized how great he was in this movie, even as a young child. So I am a little sad that he lost out on opportunities to have more great performances and whatnot, but obviously he still can give more great performances, so definitely excited for whatever he has coming up next. But with Short Round, I really loved him. Obviously, sometimes with little kid sidekicks, they don't always work, but Short Round is one of the best. I just really loved him playing off of Indy and whatnot, which a lot of Indiana Jones side characters, what makes them great is just watching them interact with Indy and whatnot, which Short Round holds his own in every scene, and adds a lot to the film. In fact, he's probably one of my favorite Indiana Jones side characters. But I really loved him in the movie. Obviously, Indy in this movie is just more of the same, which is all I can really ask for. But the MacGuffin or treasure of this movie is this time is some stones called the Sankara stones, which I believe they're made up for this film. I don't know if there was any real life inspirations. I haven't really looked into that too much, but I do know they aren't directly based off a real life thing like the Ark of the Covenant and the Holy Grail and the Last Crusade. But with them, one thing I like the design, even though they are just stones. I like how they glow and whatnot and catch on fire. I really like that. And how like at the start when Indy and the others come across the villagers, I guess, and how the stone was stolen from them, and how it's more spiritual and whatnot to them and whatnot. I like that. Wish we got a little more of that in the movie, though. Wish it dived in just a little bit more, because it is more a made up treasure, so there isn't all that added on, I guess, like the Ark of the Covenant, kind of knowing some history or having the ability to know some history of it and whatnot. But I definitely enjoyed in this one, but obviously comparing to Raiders and the Ark of the Covenant, I just really like the Ark of the Covenant in Raiders of the Lost Ark, so it's kind of hard to top that treasure or MacGuffin or whatever. But with the Sankara stones, I do like how the I guess thuggy cultists, I don't know exactly if they even have like a name, I don't remember it, but I like the rituals, how they involve the stone and whatnot, and the rituals of ripping the hearts out, all very creepy and whatnot. But I guess the group as a whole is kind of the main villains, but there's the leader, Malaram, which I wasn't super into him as a main villain. I just was more into the cult as a whole, which is more the case. Malaram really isn't that big of a villain, I guess. I just feel like he doesn't really have too much screen time. But I was into the cult as a whole, kind of as villains. But my favorite part of the movie might be the cold open, which takes place in Shanghai. And we see this villain, Lao She, who might be my favorite villain character from the movie. But I just really like this type of ending to an adventure. A more tense deal gone wrong. I like the moment of Indy drinking the poison and having to get the antidote, and then escaping with Short Round and Willie, and then getting to the plane And I really love this scene where Indy's boarded and Lao She is just getting there. So Indy kind of tells him off and then closes the door to reveal that, he has boarded a plane owned by Lao She. I really love that. And then afterwards, the pilot's just jumping out of the plane, dumping the fuel, and then Indy Short Round Willie having to escape on a raft, which, isn't possible, but that's what I love about really action movies or adventure movies, but just movies as a whole. Just the most unbelievable stuff happening. Some people look at it in a way like, wow, that's not believable, that's stupid, but I look at it in a way where it's like, that's unbelievable, funny, and I really enjoy it. Definitely for a movie like Indiana Jones with magic and whatnot. Magical artifacts and stuff of that nature. But, I definitely love that cold open. But some other moments, like the ending, a lot of the ending, like when Indy gets, mind controlled, I guess, by the cult. I like the moments of Short Round, kind of having to escape, the captivity. They're basically, they weren't basically, they were going to turn him into a slave, but escaping and then getting to Indy and knocking the mind controlness out of him. I love that. I love the voodoo doll we see of Indiana Jones and how that worked in some of the action scenes, in the mine cart scene in the mine, and obviously that's when the voodoo doll kind of gets used a little. I really enjoyed obviously all the mine cart scenes. Then all that stuff on the bridge at the end was a lot of fun. One moment I liked was the scene was kind of a play on the scene from Raiders where Indy whips out his gun and shoots a guy, but this time he doesn't have his gun, so he actually has to fight with his whip. I like that because also that's what originally was supposed to happen in Raiders. So I liked seeing it actually kind of happen the other way. So yeah, but also once again, John Williams' score is great. The standout theme to me in this movie was obviously Short Round's theme, but I really don't have much else to say. I really enjoy Temple of Doom, probably my least favorite of the original three, and I do think it kind of gets, hated on maybe a little too much. Obviously, it's still most people like it, but, I say it's my least favorite of the original three, but I still really, really enjoy it. Just going up against a movie I think is nearly perfect with Raiders of the Lost Ark, and then a movie that's also almost perfect with The Last Crusade. It's kind of hard to compete up against those, but this is still a great movie, and I really love it. So yeah, but my grade, I'm gonna give it an A. So yeah, but that's gonna be it for this one. Next, I'll review Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade, so you can check that out then. But in the meantime, check out my review on Raiders of the Lost Ark and all my other Indiana Jones videos and my Star Wars videos and everything else. But I've been Sarzu, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.